Yes, guys, welcome back to Jason Green Arrows. It's Friday. It's double game week 33. And we're looking forward to a very eventful weekend. What is about to come? We've got game week 34 ahead as well. We've got free hits in play either next week or this week. We've still got FPL managers with the assistant managership in play. We've got loads to discuss. Captaincy is a big one this week. We want your questions. We're going to talk to Bigman and Dean in detail. I'm today's host. If you're watching on catch up, hello, everyone. Please hit the like and subscribe nice and early. And Dean, last time we spoke, you were in England. You're back in San Diego. How are you, mate?
I'm back in San Diego, mate, with my English tan that I actually did get from 2 weeks of sun in England, which was not expected. Loved being back in England. Actually enjoyed it more than I expected, to be honest. Like, I've never been on holiday in England before, obviously, which was weird. But I think I've missed England more than I realised. I had a lovely time. Enjoyed getting back into neck oil and going to Costa and stuff like that. But yeah, I am back now in San Diego and back to FPL, and I'm very annoyed, mate. I'm very annoyed with
Glasner.
Mate,
the swing on Glasner versus Howe, they went into it. Rob T posted something like the expected points going into the double were bang on the same. And Howe's got 23 or whatever, and Glasner's got 3 or whatever it is. It's a massive swing, that, isn't it?
It's so frustrating. Because when I initially set out with this chip, before I actually played it, the plan in my head was Glasner, Howe, Glasner. And then as we talked about it more, I was like, I'm just going to leave it on Glasner, just do 5 games of Glasner, and I'll come out okay. And that game week 32 has really, really hit me because whatever. I was never going to actually do it in the end, so I can't curse it too much. But it would have just changed my season if I had gone with Howe. He's not even there. He's been in hospital the whole time. He's had could have given me the best game week I'd have hoped for. But never mind. We pick ourselves up and we go again for game week 33. Hello, Bigman.
Hello, Gianni. Hello, Dean. Hello, welcome to all the listening viewers. I was thinking about you, Dean, actually, ever since the last weekend. I've been actually wanting to talk to you. And remember the conversation we had, on the previous week, especially before you activated the system manager, we were sort of evaluating how many points would be a good score. And I did mention that, the likes of Slot and Moyes performed so well that I think our expectations have been inflated to a certain extent because both of us got lucky. I got lucky because I was going to sell Slot for Arteta in a week where Arsenal lost to West Ham 1-0. And Everton got a result against Liverpool in the very last minute of the game. So, these kind of results, you need luck to go your way. And I just think that you've actually hit Glasner at a time where, Palace are now focusing on the FA Cup final. They aren't exactly looking at the league as a priority anymore. So it's just bad luck, bad timing, bad variance. And if you own someone like a Howe, then the whole outlook completely changes. What's worse is that some people didn't own Pope or Murphy, which just added more pain. So it was a brutal week for a lot of people, and I can completely relate to what you're trying to say.
I guess my problem now, lads, is I've obviously lost faith in him a little bit. And we're coming into this double game week. And obviously the plan has been to just stick with Glasner. He's got Bournemouth, he's got Arsenal. And I was like, okay, well, he will win one of those games. I'm not so sure. Now, people in the chat here are saying, he's got to get this team going again before they play the semi-final. But I'll be honest, there's a temptation to just stick this in Arteta. I am considering just taking the Arsenal points at this stage.
I think I would. You've got the Arsenal available, and I believe in form. Some don't. Some will say form doesn't exist. I don't really like that argument, but I would say Glasner, more than most managers, is a very form streak. It goes on hot and cold streaks, right? Think of Glasner at the end of last season. He was untouchable, winning every game. Bayern Munich were linked with him. Then at the start of this season, not that very good. A month ago, 2 months ago, flying. Last couple of weeks, really poor. They've just conceded 9 goals in that double game week and scored how many? None, one. I can't even remember. Mr. Penn, sure. I can't see him beating Bournemouth, who looked good last time out. And I certainly can't see him going to the Emirates and getting anything. So, yeah, I'd be nervous. I'd be nervous on Glasner. I think I work transfer just to bank some points.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I mean, I've got a transfer to use. My team's okay without it. Obviously, there's the blanks next week to consider, but I can wild card for that one. Sorry, free hit for that one. So I can always sort myself out for that. But yeah, there's definite temptation here to just jump ship because I do not trust this Crystal Palace team. On the back of that Newcastle result, especially. So, yeah, very disappointing. CH says, Dean, did you get home for the earthquake? No, I missed it. There was an earthquake in San Diego the day before I came back.
You sound disappointed.
I'm really disappointed because I always wanted to know what it felt like. Now, I don't want to be in a major earthquake, obviously. No. That's not part of my plan at all, and I'm quite scared of that happening. But it was like a 5.6 or something.
Oh, nice. Decent.
I mean, people got a rumble. Yeah, people are like
I was in a 5 last year.
Well, yeah.
I was in a 5. I was in my first ever 5 last year, and it was quite cool. Like, no one died, but a few things fell down. Yeah.
That's it. People in our text group, people did everyone feel that? Was that just me? And then you suddenly get all the messages. No, that was real. That was real. I hope the kids are okay at school, blah, blah, blah. But it was fine. It was just a short, sharp rumble.
It's scary. I've been through one, and it's generally scary. And actually, it was back in 2005 or 6. I was in grade 5 or 6, if I remember correctly, and I distinctly remember the magnitude of the quake was close to 7, so it was very severe.
Whoa.
And it. I was, we were in class, and the lecture was going on. I distinctly remember it was a Saturday, so it was like an extra day at school for I don't remember whatever reason, and it was really scary. It scared the shit out of me. Like I still remember that day. It was everyone rushed home immediately after because it was really really scary.
Oh mate, yeah, I don't want one of those. And obviously, where we live, it's okay. San Diego's not as bad as LA and parts of the fault lines that exist around there. But yeah, wow, look at us chatting earthquakes on CGA with all actual experience of some sort.
There's an earthquake in FPL this week as well. The big earthquake this week for many is Saka versus De Bruyne for a transfer in. And again, Saka versus De Bruyne, probably versus Marmoush for captaincy. So we have got some massive dilemmas to get to. Bigman, other than those 2 topics, anything else in terms of massive, big talking points this week in FPL for you that we need to address today? Because we'll get to the 2 points I've just mentioned. Anything else that
I think
talking points for your thread, for example?
I mean, for my team, there are plenty of talking points because it's a very spicy sort of combination that I'm looking at. I'm even contemplating a hit for the first time this season.
Come on. Love this.
It's very unlike me. So we'll come to that later. But generally, I mean, in the thread, I covered captaincy, which you've touched upon. People talking about their assistant manager, bench boost ships, whether they should be using their triple captain this week, whether Saka is safe for minutes, safe to bring him in, him versus KDB, the best double game week options. I think we should touch on that. Rashford, Watkins, Rodgers, because a lot of people have been, tempted by Rashford, and rightly so after his performance in midweek. So I think we need to touch upon that as well, very briefly. But yeah, I mean, let's do the honors. Let's get into it straight away.
Yeah, let's get into KDB and Saka then. First, should we do Saka first? Let's do Arsenal first, and we'll do captaincy later. So we got some stuff on Saka. Does he get 2 starts? The big question here is when we take into account the fixtures, he's just been in the Bernabeu. He's just been to Spain Wednesday night. He then plays, I think is it Sunday? I want to get this right. Is it Sunday, Tuesday, or Saturday, Tuesday? I've tweeted it, so I should bloody know.
He plays on Sunday, Wednesday.
Sunday, Wednesday. Okay, so it's Sunday away from home at Ipswich, isn't it? And then Wednesday he's at home. But crucially for Saka, which is why there's a glimmer of hope for me that he gets 2 starts, he then doesn't play that weekend. So next weekend, game week 34, is a blank game week for every team that's blanking. Pretty much has got an FA Cup semi-final, but not Arsenal. So Where are we at? Because I wonder, knowing he doesn't play next week, and the game after the double game week is PSG the Wednesday or Tuesday after, so he's got a full week off. I think he gets 2 starts, but I have to put myself in line, like check myself, because I'm fully aware it's a 50-50 call for game 1. Game 2 he starts, right? But game 1 against Ipswich, does he start? I'm 50-50. Game 2, I'm 99% sure he starts. But if I'm going to buy him, I need 2 starts. I'll take 2 lots of 70, but I need 2 starts. Where are you at, Dean?
Well, I'm not as worried about the start, mate. I mean, the thing is that there's potential here for Arsenal to absolutely smash Ipswich and Crystal Palace. That's the biggest thing I'm considering. Like, he will start at least one of those games, and he's going to come on in the other one. And to just know, Andy Burton says 100 minutes for Saka. I think 100 minutes of Saka against Ipswich and Crystal Palace is a daunting enough prospect to be missing out on anyway. So that's kind of what my fear is. Obviously, I've just talked about that transfer of a manager, which I didn't want to make because I wanted to bring Saka into my team. So if I'm going to bring in Arteta and Saka, it's obviously going to cost me a -4. So there's another reason to contemplate that. He's the best player playing a double game week. Irrelevant of whether he starts both of them, he is the best player, which means he has the highest ceiling. So if he does start both, who knows what this guy could end up with? And he'll want to play. Like, he's getting into the rhythm now. He's going to want to play both of these games. And Ipswich aren't very good at home. And Crystal Palace just are in a bit of a weird place right now. And hard to predict what you'll get, but you've got to assume that Arsenal do beat them. Nikolai says, my worry is how intensely will Arsenal play? What's the urge? And I guess this is something to consider because the next Champions League game is the season. Everything's on that. We heard Ruben Amorim talking last night after Man United's win about how the kids are going to play for him now in the Premier League, and other players are going to get a chance. Now, obviously, Arsenal have a bit more to play for because their league position still matters within the Premier League. But they're fine. They're going to be in the Champions League next season. If they finish second or third, doesn't really matter, especially if they go on and win the Champions League. So I'm very conflicted, but overall, I'm very scared not to own Saka. If I do have Saka, he's captain.
Oh, big man, where are you at? My negative for Saka is I don't know if he starts because of the easing him back and needing to play him in a game like Ipswich. But my yes, I think he does start is coming from a place where I go, PSG, Arsenal haven't had their full strength 11 for a while, or certainly an 11 with Saka in it. They need to be up and running. They need to get rhythm and routine, and 2 lots of 60, he's fine for. He's got a week off after. Does he get 2 starts? And we've got a poll. Does Saka start one or both? Get voting in the poll. Where are you at, big man, with this?
Yeah, Gianni, I think more than whether or not he starts both games in the double, I think we need to break it down into FPL context and FPL terms. I think the 2 relevant questions for us to answer, I'll come to the first because it's, whether it's worth buying Saka first. Now, I sort of agree with the points that Dean was mentioning. And I agree with you to a certain extent as well that I'm not exactly sure whether he starts both games in double, like a lot of others. But the thing is, I think that going without him this week feels like an unnecessary lopsided gamble, which I don't think I'm willing to take. Because when you look at the premium options this week, Saka is the only one who really kind of stands out apart from Marmoush because of the fixtures. I mean, Ipswich is as good a fixture as it gets. And then Palace will surely rest their first team regulars against Arsenal in midweek. So even if Saka plays one, I think is a good option to buy. And I'm not exactly sure that he misses one of the fixtures anyway. So I don't want to take that gamble. I just think that both the fixtures are so good that I feel confident locking him in this week. Because I just think the thought of missing out on a big score, if I get his minutes wrong, is probably too risky, in my opinion. So I think I will definitely be buying him this week. Whether or not I feel confident in captaining him is a completely different conversation. But it's the minutes risk is certainly not enough for me not to buy him.
But it's an opportunity for big points, as you say, big man. But are then lack of premium options? You mentioned Marmoush. What about the other guy on screen? De Bruyne is a premium option that has an equal chance of getting, or the similar chance of getting 2 starts as Saka has, right? De Bruyne is also playing number 9.
Yeah, I don't exactly think this is like
De Bruyne.
Yeah, the thing with De Bruyne is I don't think it's a like for like comparison because firstly, I think if you're getting a third city now, you have to be confident in his minutes, and I have zero confidence that De Bruyne starts both games. In this double, even if he does going forward, I think he'll be a transfer out. And ideally, if you're buying a third city, you need someone who's available if City have a double in 36. So that's why De Bruyne isn't an option for me. I haven't really considered him for my team. I think it would be a spicy differential for people on a free hit. I think I would probably go there if I was on free hit, simply because he's a nice way of gaining rank. But yeah, not for me to bring in as an asset with the free transfer.
Yeah, I mean, look, De Bruyne hasn't got a double-digit haul back-to-back all season, has he? Like, as far as I'm aware, he can't have done that. I mean, he hasn't been on any sort of prolonged period of good form. I mean, he might have played a couple of good games back-to-back, but not put in performances that have resulted in goals and assists back-to-back. And so I just have very little faith in De Bruyne being able to do that right now. I mean, I trust him at home, and I think that he plays the home games. I think I said on here the other day that the one thing you're going to get here from the rest of the season is kind of like a KDB farewell tour at the Etihad. They want all their fans to see him for the last time. He's got 3 home games against Villa, Wolves, and Bournemouth. He stood up and was, made himself known in that Crystal Palace fixture at home and kind of took that by the scruff of the neck and was like, we're not letting this go. I've still got it in me to turn this around. He hasn't got it in him, I don't think, to do that every week anymore. Like, doing it that one week against Crystal Palace when the momentum shift was, it was a pretty rare thing. That's not something you often see in football, a game shift like that when it should have been 3-0 to Crystal Palace and ends up 5-2 to Man City. Extremely rare game. So I just have major trust issues, really, with De Bruyne putting in a run of games now on top form. I know, like, you could say, well, it's only Everton, but I'm like, okay, but we still haven't seen it from him that he could put it together. And then you've got a blank, so you bring him in, and then he blanks in the next game week anyway. So
but then you've got Southampton and Wolves. I'm bringing him in on wildcard in 34. Just don't know if I bring him in this week. I'm bringing him in for that blank and benching him.
Yeah,
if he starts between now and then. But the FA Cup semi-final as well is a big one. So you reckon he starts the home games, which means...
I think I just find it extremely hard to believe he won't play the next home game against Aston Villa. And I don't know that he can start Saturday and Tuesday. That's the feeling I've got. I mean, obviously, I was wrong. Last week I obviously was here and got some information from one of the Aston Villa journalists about Donyell Marlon, which turned out to be wrong. It didn't matter in the end because he got points anyway. But the City journos reckon that KDB's being primed to play the home games at the moment.
Yeah, okay. So
but Dean, given that City have had a week of rest, right? City have had a week of rest. In which case, surely De Bruyne starts.
Well, KDB's had a season of rest. Like, he hasn't played all season. So that's the problem with him. I'm not sure. It's not like picking Marmoush or picking Jack Grealish or something. Like, this is a guy who I don't know how fit he is. I don't know how often he's able to play football at this level anymore. I think that's more the case that I would be worried about.
De Bruyne played number 9 the last couple of games. We've seen Marmoush left. That has looked brilliant. But Pep being Pep, he picks his team based on the opposition. And there might be a game where he goes, for whatever reason, I'm going to go with Doku and Savio on the wings, which then puts Marmoush as the 9, which then puts De Bruyne as the 10, or no De Bruyne, and he plays Foden there, or he plays Gundogan there, or Bernardo there. They're all getting back to fitness now at City. Like, they've got so much strength and depth in those attacking spots. Yes, De Bruyne is their best player, but based on the tactical setup and the formation Pep goes with, you're not going to be surprised if De Bruyne does miss an important game. I need to see him start between now and my wildcard in 34 to pick him ahead of Southampton and Wolves. But if I see 3 starts in the next 3 games, I'm like, yeah, I'm going there, and they're playing well, then they need him. Interesting to get your take there in the chat, guys. So we've done a poll on Saka. Does he start one or both? The results on Saka were almost bang on 50-50, like 46%, I think, said yes. Just over 50 saying no, he doesn't. We'll do the same on De Bruyne. Do you think De Bruyne starts one or both games? Get voting. It is worth noting Man City, unlike Arsenal, do have an FA Cup semi-final to prepare for. And many could argue that's now their biggest game because, I mean, Champions League qualification is important, but they'll be fancying their chances for that. The Villa game is obviously a massive one. But Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup, opportunity to win something, they'll be going big there. Okay, let's move away from De Bruyne versus Saka. Any other points, big man, on De Bruyne or Saka before we move on and talk, I guess, captaincy?
I think we've covered both in detail. I have nothing to add.
Yeah. Okay, so just to put you both on the spot, guys, and then we'll do the same question in the chat, and we'll let this question about Kevin De Bruyne starts breathe for a minute. But the next poll question is going to be the question I ask you both. If you can only pick one on free hit this week, who do you pick? And if you can only pick one for your actual team for season long, who do you pick? I'm going to say on free hit, if I could only have one, I'd actually pick Saka this week. But for my actual team for the run-in, I don't like Saka because they've got, I think it's Bournemouth in game week 35, where it's wedged between the PSG games. I'd actually go De Bruyne for my actual team with Southampton and Wolves in mind. So that's where I'm at. But short-term punt, I would this week go Saka. I think that's where I'll end up going. Dean, to you, and we'll put that question in the chat. De Bruyne or Saka, pick one.
I would just go with Saka, to be honest. I just feel like, as I say, De Bruyne has passed his best. This is a bit of a farewell tour. There'll be a couple of moments from him, but Saka is one of the best players in the world. Like at the moment, like if he's still able to play at that level, like consistently, and it might even be that the Champions League revs him up to replicate that in the Premier League as well. I don't think he's going to be rested for all the Premier League games. I don't think he's had enough game time to be able to just switch it on and off for 3 big Champions League matches as Arsenal try to win that. So he's going to need minutes in the bank. Yeah, I find it very hard to bet against Saka. I think the confidence he showed in missing that penalty and then taking that goal as well as he did, and then the kind of celebration just shows his mentality at the moment. I find it very hard to bet against Saka.
Yeah, chat are saying De Bruyne 1 game, 75%. So we're confident more in the chat on Saka minutes than De Bruyne minutes. Guys, if you're watching on catch up, you can drop a comment with your thoughts on this. Likewise, to all those watching, we would love to hit 100 likes. Of course, thank you for your reminder. And we would love also 20 new subscribers. Thank you, Jay, for that reminder in the chat. So please do like and subscribe to Chasing Green Arrows, whether you're watching live or catch up. Big man, only pick one this week, only pick one for the season. Saka both ways, or?
I think Saka both ways. Gotta be.
Yeah. I'll show you my free hit team just now. I put together a free hit draft.
I actually have a point to add here as well. One for the season is actually trickier because I think that, Saka is probably going to be surplus to requirements by game week 35 because when a lot of us will be free hitting in 34. By the time we come to 35, we will realize that Arsenal playing Bournemouth, which is a fixture in sandwiched right in between the Champions League fixtures.
You'll buy De Bruyne.
So I won't buy De Bruyne. I'll probably buy Mboma at that point, by the way. I'll be back to Brian. I think I've missed him for long enough. Brentford have a really strong end of the season. So, I mean, Saka will be transferred out as well. But irrespective of the point, I just think Saka is a better asset this week. So I prefer Saka. And he I don't think he's a long-term pick by any means. I think I'm planning on transferring him out in game week 35.
The PSG games for Arsenal, I'm pretty sure, are Tuesday, Wednesday turnaround, which has worked out really well for them. So it's not the Wednesday, Tuesday, which you would go definitely no Saka for the Bournemouth game. Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe more of a chance. But yeah, guys, get voting we'll get that poll up. Pick one to buy this week, Saka or De Bruyne. I'll also show you guys very quickly my free hit team, and then let's get on with captaincy. So right now, we'll show you my free hit draft for anyone on a free hit. And I think there are a fair few on free hit. I did a Twitter poll. There was about 11% on free hit this week. So one in 10 of you. So it's of interest maybe to a couple. So I'll just show you what a free hit team would look like this week if I was to put it together. I would obviously go big on doublers. The big question mark is where you go with Aston Villa. And I don't think Watkins starts both. I think Rashford and Rodgers are much better, but Watkins is the one pick here I don't love, but I would just go, if you get 120 minutes, you could still get goals, and he's a doubler. The only single game week players I'd pick are Bradley and Salah, who play Leicester. I'd be tempted on Isak instead of Watkins, but just because he's so good. But I would go triple City, triple Arsenal, double Arsenal defence, and then triple. I just stack up on doublers other than Bradley and Salah. And by the way, Trent isn't ready to start. That has been said today. We've also seen in the press conferences today that Mateta is going to start for those worried about his form. Glasner has said he'll be good to start. We won't dwell on this free hit team because very few of you are on free hit. I just wanted to show it to maybe if should anyone be on free hit.
I think Watkins is interesting because, I mean, there's some talk that Watkins considers a transfer at this point. I mean, he's kind of been shoved aside, surprisingly, at Aston Villa for a player in Rashford mainly that isn't theirs. Probably, as far as I'm concerned, isn't even going to sign for them permanently. I find it strange. I do find it strange that Watkins finds himself in this situation. But obviously, if he does get the nod to start, there's that extra motivation within him to be like, I ain't going without a fight. Like I'm here to score goals. And a home fixture against Newcastle. I mean, I think this is a really tough one. I think like a lot of teams already stacked up with Newcastle and Villa assets. Like that's one of my big problems already actually going into this game week is the amount I've got from both. But yeah, Ollie Watkins, I find I'm double-edged on it because one side of it, I'm like, he's just not starting. The guy's just not getting any minutes. And then I'm like, but he's going to start one of these two. And if it's the home one, I quite fancy him to find the net. So, yeah, interesting situation he's in.
Yeah. What's your take there, big man? Like Rashford, the way he played versus PSG, Rashford started something like 4 of the last 5 or 5 of the last 6. I think Rashford could get 2 starts, and he does get early subs. So, given the choice, Aston Villa attackers, rank the 3. Would you go Rodgers 1, Rashford 2, Watkins 3?
For minutes, yes, I think Rodgers is quite clear because if you look at his recent minutes, he's barely been rested, and now with Villa having, not much to play for, the focus will be on the league, and I would expect him to play pretty much every game from now till the end of the season. If you look at Emery's comments, I think it's fairly clear that he is currently looking at playing either Rashford or Watkins, and I don't think both of them will start together, at least not in this double. Which is why I think it's probably best avoiding both, because I expect Rashford to start once, probably against Newcastle, and then Watkins to get the City game. So, in my opinion, you're not exactly going to get a double out of them. Yes, Rashford has the higher ceiling, and if I knew that Rashford was playing both fixtures, I would probably prefer him over Rodgers, but without any kind of certainty, I think I would default to Rodgers.
Yeah, strange one, isn't it? Daniel, thank you for your super chat, mate. He says... Oh, lads, listen to this. He said, I'm really tempted to do Palmer and Burmo and Livramento to Saka, KDB and Kivior for a -8. I just need a bit of confirmation bias. I'm on wild card 34. It's a big hit, isn't it? -8 for that. I mean, I like the picks.
Can we have the graphic on screen again? I mean, I was still reading the question. It's a long one.
It's a long one.
It's a -8 before a wildcard. And Dan, thanks so much for the super chat. I'm also on wildcard 34. And I'm being really careful not to take hits this week. Because when you take a hit and you spread it across multiple weeks, it often pays off. When you're on wildcard next week and you're dead-ending your team, to take a hit, you need an instant 8 points plus on that move, right? Because it can't pay off over future weeks because you're wildcarding anyway. We'll put that graphic back on screen. We'll bring off the free hit draft because I think our producer doesn't want the graphic on screen because it covers your face, big man. But we can get rid of it. There we go.
Lose viewers when that happens.
Yeah. God, as if I've spotted that. I've got a producer head more than a presenter head because I produce my own content. I knew what our man was thinking. Yeah. What do you reckon here, big man? Like, do you like these moves? Because the wild card is there as a bailout, and Saka, De Bruyne, and Kivior are all great punts this week. But players like Palmer and Burmo, they can produce any given week. Is this going to get him plus 8 points?
I think Palmer to Saka, when you look at the transfers, I think Palmer to Saka is the one which I would put as the highest in the pecking order in terms of priority. So I would do that for free. Now you have to look at the other two transfers as whether or not they're worth a hit. And Bomo to KDB, I would be reluctant to take a hit, to be very honest. I think with the doubt over KDB's minutes, and because I think Mboma could do well against Brighton. Brighton have been leaking goals left, right, and centre. They just conceded 2 to Leicester. So I expect Brentford to score a couple, and if they do, then Mboma could be involved. I don't think Mboma to KDB is worth a hit. Livermento to Kiwior could be. Yes, that's something I'm considering as well for my team, and I'm not sure whether to go ahead with it.
Me too.
So yeah, that's my take.
I've got a Newcastle defender starting at the minute, and I could take a -4 and go Saliba or Kiwior, and that's an option. Yeah. But does it get me plus 4 points in 1 week? I mean, what do we fancy Arsenal for clean sheets, guys? Like they are underlying numbers the best defence in the league, and they've just gone to pierce to Real Madrid over 2 legs and conceded very little XG against one of the best attacks in world football. Ipswich and Palace. Palace will be heavily rotated. Ipswich are dead and buried. 2 clean sheets.
Arsenal have. Gianni, just a second. Do you know how what the probability of Arsenal keeping at least 1 clean sheet in the game week is?
No, but you do.
It's 73%. That's very high. That's very, very high. Right, and there's no way Newcastle are keeping a clean sheet, so it could pay off, I think.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, Ipswich and Crystal Palace, I mean, they're 2 teams that you would want to be playing at the moment, I think, from an Arsenal perspective. The only thing Arteta's got to do is kind of make sure that he's not taking any risks here with personnel, with injuries, and as a result of that, you're not going to be getting the same 2 lineups across those 2 games, and anyone who has the slightest problem during either of those matches is coming off straight away. So, yeah, Kiwior's become obviously very important now for that Champions League. You can't lose him. So, obviously, they haven't got loads of options to change that around. So, I'd probably leave that, to be honest. I'd be scared that Arsenal end up mass rotation across these 2 games.
It's also worth noting Newcastle, they are very good. They could keep a clean sheet versus Villa. Like, if we're talking about selling a Newcastle player on a -4, Livermento's been amazing. Okay, let's have a look at... Should we see the Rob T graphics and then see our teams? I think we've got some graphics from Rob T to show, and it alludes to some of the stuff Bigman just mentioned about clean sheet odds. So we'll get through a couple of these bits. And guys, thank you for all your comments in the chat. Thank you as well for hitting that like button. I think a few of you have hit the like button. There are 338 of you watching. We love our Friday streams and we want to continue them. But to continue these streams in general next season, we need those subs as well, guys. So we would love you just to check that you are subscribed. I know the vast majority of the chat, in fact, all of the chat, I think are subscribed, because to add your comment to the chat, you have to be subbed. But there's loads of lurkers out there. And if you're a lurker, come and say hello to the chat, in the chat. We'll flash up some lurker comments. We'll answer some lurker questions. And we would love the lurkers. Okay,
on the lurkers.
David, good question. Trippier to Bradley for a hit? No, don't think so. Not for a hit. I think Bradley's a great buy this week, not on a hit. So total goals over the double, to run you through these. These are what the bookmakers suggest. Arsenal will score the most, followed by Man City, Villa, and then Liverpool, who aren't a doubling team, remember. Liverpool, 2.7 goals expected versus Leicester. And then the clean sheet odds, wow, yeah. This metric has them at 68. Big Man mentioned just over 70, but nevertheless, they're expected to clean and could even get 2. Man City, Liverpool close to that 50% barrier as well. And of course, Man City do have a double game week. Good stuff. Big Man, any other numbers you want to pick out from this?
I mean, I think when you look at this sort of goes in line with what we are saying regarding Saka being the best captain if he starts both. You can see City being Arsenal being projected to score the highest number of goals. It's just not, we're just not exactly sure whether Saka's going to play both fixtures. And as you can see, 68% it says on the odds of 1 or more clean sheet. With City, I think 49% is pretty good as well. I think I would actually think that they have a higher chance against Everton. That game sort of screams 0-0, 1-0 to me personally. Yeah. I don't think it would be a very high scoring game. And the thing with the City asset is that you're also potentially getting another doubler in 36 if things, go your way. So there's that option as well.
We've got a few people jumping in, G. Some lurkers. Aryan says, hello from Nepal. Overall rank 48k. Well done, mate. Thank you for jumping in with your comment. Art Guy has jumped in to say hello. Omara has got a big question. I don't recognize his name, so I'm assuming he might be a new subscriber. Anyway, quickly, pick one of this midfield and a free hit. Salah, KDB, Saka, Rogers, Rashford. Salah, KDB, Saka, Rogers, Marino.
I think number one is the free hit midfield I just showed you.
Yeah, I mean, so there you go. Marino, you don't see much love for Marino.
We haven't spoken about other Arsenal, have we?
Not really, no. But quickly, there is also, who did I see? Oh, there we go. John, hello, a lurker in Seattle. We've got a few jumping in, mate. We got a few new faces jumping in down here. So thank you to everyone that is subscribing right now. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we really do. Thank you, as always, team. Can we suggest a couple of differentials for free hit? Well, Pig, a few good differentials. We've just seen Arsenal most likely to score the amount of goals. We've only spoken about Saka. So Bigman, Trossard, Martinelli, Moreno, probably even safer for minutes than the wide forwards I've just mentioned, or Odegaard, Moreno. Anyone at Arsenal other than Saka of interest?
Not really. I think Marino is the only one I think I would consider in the attackers apart from Saka. But even I'm not convinced about his minutes. We just discussed Saka, and for similar reasons, I'm not exactly sold on Marino's minutes either. And in the similar price point, if you're getting someone like a Rogers, you probably just go with him, I think.
I do quite like Trossard. This is the sort, it's a Trossardy week, No one ever, yeah, exactly. No one ever picks him because you don't really know when he's going to play. But when he does, he's usually quite angry because he's been waiting for his chance. Like, I know that one thing that I know about Trossard, I've got a friend that works at Arsenal, and he's like, he's quite egotistical, and he's quite like, feels like should be playing every single week. Like, he's always quite angry if he's not in the starting lineup, even though he's playing like one of the best teams in Europe. And sometimes you see it in his celebrations too. So if Trossard gets a chance, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he comes up with some points.
Love that. Guys, thank you for all your comments as well. Let's get to our team, shall we? We've got some big decisions to make. Dean and Bigman, you've got big decisions. I've got 2 free transfers. I'm using them both. Got to talk a little bit about all of our chip strategies as well. So when we get to our teams, guys, give us your transfer plans, but also your plans moving forward with any remaining chips. We'd love that to be a topic per team. So Dean, you're up first. You've currently got a week left of assistant manager and 1 free transfer and 2.6 million in the bank. Yeah,
exactly. So I'm a bit stumped. I'll be bringing in Saka for Bruno as the transfer there, because otherwise I can't get to Saka. He's the only player that allows me to. Bruno's got a single game week. Not sure how many minutes he'll play against Wolves, to be honest, after those Ruben Amorim quotes about playing kids. So I think that, Saka coming in there is an obvious one. And so my plan to get to Arteta actually is a bit flawed because it leaves me with, I think, 0.5. I'd have to take a hit anyway to get to Arteta from Glasner, and I can't afford actually to get to Arteta because he's 1.5 million on the assistant manager chip and Glasner is 0.8. So leave me 0.2 short in terms of getting there. So I might have to stick with this loser Glasner for another game week, which I don't really want to do. I'm going to really have to hope that Palace come up trumps against Bournemouth, or I take a hit to move to another manager, which I'm not sure will be worthwhile. Marlon. Someone's asking, is Marlon whom? Look, I bought him Marlon for the last game week, thinking he might get a couple of goals. He got one. It was fine. He's got a double game week. Not sure how many minutes he's going to get. So I'd rather, to be honest, I'd rather have Burmo and Salah playing on singles than I would have Marlon with a double.
Yeah, fair. Benching dilemmas, Dean? Bruno versus what are you worried about? Bruno having played 120.
Bruno's not going to be there, is he? So Saka's going to be in for Bruno, so it'll be Marlon shifts to the bench, and on the bench,
you'll be Marlon. Fine.
So bench will be Burn, Kirkes, and Marlon. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, okay, nice. And captaincy for you, Dean? We didn't touch on it earlier, but I guess Saka, Marmoush, I think you mentioned Saka will probably be a captain if you bring him in.
I think bringing in Saka means I'm very likely to captain him. But yeah, Marmoush obviously is the other prime candidate from my team here. So I'd say I'm swaying early doors to transferring in Saka and giving him the armband, but it's not totally lost on me that Marmoush has got two nice games there and probably more minutes to play. So I'll have to leave that decision for later in the day.
Oh, Marmoush is a big one. Do you know what?
It
Okay,
is.
Dean, let's come off your team. Before we show Bigman's team, let's just discuss captaincy as a 3. At the moment, big man, and we'll see it on your team, but where are you at with captaincy and where is the chat at with captaincy? Let's just do a poll of Saka versus Marmoush, and then we'll put an other out there. But I think the vast majority are going to one of these two players. We've got some good numbers here. Season long, let's just assume, look at these numbers when you're looking at goals and assists and just think Saka's had about double the minutes, right? About double. Just less than double, but about double. Goals are the same. Obviously, Saka way more creative. XG, Marmoush slightly better. If this was per 90, Marmoush edges it for goals, but not for the creativity. For assists and expected assists, Saka's head and shoulders. But for goal threat, Marmoush up there. Where are you at, big man, with captaincy?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the minutes more than the statistics for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, currently I want to captain Saka, and I have been on Saka all week, but now I'm sort of leaning towards Marmoush because he's safer for minutes. I think it depends on which side of the bed I wake up on tomorrow, to be very honest. I think this is one which will go down to the wire for me. I actually, if I knew that Saka was going to play both games, I think he's a very straightforward choice. But it's just the safety of Marmoush's minutes which is luring me in. But yeah, I'm not sure currently. What about you?
I'm on Marmoush, and I think that's where I go. I said on my Monday video I was 60-40 Marmoush. I think I'm still only 60-40, but I think I end up going there. Like, my head, I don't think can be turned by Saka. I wondered if there was going to be anything for the press conferences today which turned my head, but I think I'm going to go Marmoush. I prefer the Saka fixtures, and if I knew Saka was getting 2 starts, I would be on Saka. I do think Marmoush gets 2 starts. This is purely just going the guy that will start for 2 games. Wide left with De Bruyne number 9, I think is good for him. I think that's his best position. I think he's looked really good the last 2 weeks in that position. And playing up front with De Bruyne is just perfect for any forward like Marmoush who wants to run in behind that needs someone to thread that final pass. So if I'm not going De Bruyne, which I don't think I'm going to, I have to go Marmoush captain. I can't not go De Bruyne and not go Marmoush captain because I think City have got goals in them. Everton is a tough fixture, but if they score early, it could be a big scoreline, and I think they go and win against Villa. So yeah, I'm back in City and likely back in Marmoush.
Yeah, Andy says Marmoush minutes are not 100%, but I'm just looking across the last 4 game weeks. He only missed 8 minutes in the win against Crystal Palace. He played 90 against United, 90 against Leicester, and he played 86 against Brighton. So in the last 4 game weeks, seems pretty good to me. I know there's got 2 games to play here, but I don't think there's a big chance of Marmoush getting subbed early, unless there's reason to do so in terms of injury.
People worry unnecessarily about Marmoush minutes because he's playing for Pep Guardiola. But look at the individual and look at the minutes he's had since he arrived. I think since he arrived in the Premier League, he started every game bar 1. In fact, he only arrived 2 days before the Chelsea game, and he came in and started against Chelsea, which was like, what? He arrived 48 hours ago. Yeah. He was told by Pep to be straight in that team. And when you look at the minutes the player has had, forget he plays for Pep, he starts every game. And that was with Haaland. Look at him without Haaland, he's absolutely needed.
That's it, yeah. So for the first 5 games, he was getting about 70, 75 minutes. And in the last 5 games, that's transitioned towards getting over 80, and if not, the full 90. So, yeah, they're looking for a strong finish here as well, obviously City. There's a lot to play for. Nevertheless, pride being one of them, basically. They've got to end this season well. And Marmoush is kind of like a platform for him to head into next season as well, because he's going to want to make sure that he's a key player and he's got a lot of confidence going into that, and the Club World Cup obviously to come for Man City. So yeah, I think Marmoush is pretty safe for minutes. without Haaland especially.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's see what you guys have said in the chat on Captaincy. 54% are on Marmoush, 27% Saka. The other, I guess, is a lot of Salah or against Leicester on a single game week, maybe.
Maybe an Isak, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see Big Man's team and my team. If you have Marmoush and KDB, says Paul, hey Paul, who do you captain? I still think you go Marmoush because, again, I think he's more likely to get the minutes. I think De Bruyne is, if you said they're both going to play 120 minutes or both get 180 minutes, I would go De Bruyne, of course, but just go with the guy you think gets more minutes. I think it's smart.
Yeah. What do you think the chances are of leaks this week, lads? Is there any likelihood that you think we'll get early steers on any of these? Obviously, it's not a week when we've got an early kickoff, so it's all going to be quite late in the day. Man City particularly are a normal 3 o'clock kickoff. So is it FPL Tony is he the one that often has the City news and stuff like that? So that there's got to be some chance, right?
Yeah, I think Tony had it a couple of weeks ago ahead of a deadline. And Man City are the first game of the game week with the deadline at 1:30 UK time. The 3 o'clock kickoffs, there's a few of them. Man City are one of them. And they're also the first game in the game week in 35, I think, against Wolves, which could be really useful if you want to buy De Bruyne for Saka that week.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
So I think we will get some leaks. I mean, FPL Tony, I think, has a patron where he puts leaks on the patron now. Fair enough. But there might be a few others, and the patron stuff often leaks onto public Twitter anyway. Big Man, do you think we get City news? If we get it, it will be for De Bruyne, right? Because that's the one everyone wants. And Foden, who I think is a sell, by the way, if you own him.
Yeah, I think it would be for the mids, basically. Savinho, Foden, De Bruyne. There's a chance we get it. I mean, because it's relatively an early kickoff, we might get something. All the games are going on at the same time. But apart from that, I don't think any of those games will be relevant from FPL purposes. Brentford, Brighton, Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Southampton. Not a lot of us have assets from those teams who will be as relevant. I guess with the Palace guys, you'd expect them to start anyway. So it is basically City, the likes of Ruben Diaz, De Bruyne, Savinho, Foden, which we might get news on. So anyway, coming to my team, I have 3 free transfers and I will be activating the bench boost this week. So I wildcarded in Game Week 30 and the plan was to attack Game Week 33 with a bench boost. That's why I haven't used any of my free transfers. As you can see, I still own Gabriel, which is one of the reasons why. I will be doing Palmer to Saka for sure this week for the reasons mentioned earlier. The fixture is simply too good to pass up, and Palmer is just been very, very annoying to own anyway, so I don't mind that transfer at all. The other 2 transfers I'm not exactly sure about, and I think it would be a combination of 2 of these 3 that I make. The first that I'm considering, like Gabriel will obviously go, but I don't exactly know whether I prefer Diaz or Kivior because both of them are equally appealing, in my opinion. I could sell Murphy for Rodgers and just get the best Villa attacker out there. That could potentially get me another doubler in 36 as well, which is similar to what I can get with Ruben Diaz too. And the third thing that I could potentially consider is selling Livramento for, let's say, Kivior or Diaz, whichever one I don't buy for Gabriel. So these 3 transfers are the ones I'm considering apart from the Palmer to Saka transfer. I don't think I will take the hit. But yeah, that's where I'm at currently. And I would actually love to hear your thoughts about what you guys would do.
Have you looked at maybe selling Sarr? Do you fancy Sarr for 2 starts? You mentioned Palace rotating against Arsenal game 2. Jacob Murphy's playing so well, and I know you'll have him for Ipswich anyway because you're on free hit next week. But do you not want to finish the season with Murphy in your team? Because I get the appeal of Rodgers. I'd buy Rodgers if I was you. I just don't know if I could sell Murphy the way he's playing for the run-in. And I know Newcastle haven't got the best fixtures, but Murphy's been amazing. I would consider selling Sarr, because I don't know if he starts versus Arsenal.
I would have entertained that idea, but the thought of Palace potentially doubling his 36 is enough to put me off. Because if he has 2 back-to-back doubles, then there's no way that I'm selling him.
True. Fair. Yeah. Okay. I think I'd be risky. I'd be wary on Diaz. By the way, I know Pep goes through stages of favourite centre backs, and Guardiola's the left centre back seems nailed on now. Guardiola's always been nailed, but playing as a centre back, we're seeing that a lot now because we've seen O'Reilly playing left back, and I think he'll end the season like that. So knowing Akanji is back training and available soon, and knowing Kushnov will be back as well, I just don't know if I expect Diaz to start every game for the run-in. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Gvardiol and Akanji or Gvardiol and Kushnov or a different combination for a few games. So I think I'll be wary on Diaz. But yeah, Dean?
I just want to say, mate, I'm just looking at our mini league, and if Bigman's bench boost pays off this week, then I'm going to be conceding defeat, I think. So Bigman's currently top of our league. He's 60 points clear of me, and it's quite tight between me and you. There's like 12 points or something. I'm
Dean,
yes.
Dean, it is very likely that my bench just stays the way it is on the graphic, and I don't think this is getting me more than 10, 11 points. So it's
well, yeah, but Glasner's not like
it's not exactly something you should be scared of.
But my elevation was supposed to be Glasner, and that's not gonna that's how I was supposed to catch you, and that's not happening. So that's what I'm more worried about.
If Glasner goes and beats Arsenal and wipes out Bigman's double Arsenal defence deal,
I was just thinking that. I was like, do you know what? Actually, just leave it on Glasner, because if Palace do somehow cause a shock, it's kind of like it's just a rogue pick at this point. So actually, I am going to stick with Glasner, just in the hope that Palace pull off some random results here, which obviously through the season we've seen some weird results. So yeah, we're headed into home straight, and it's pretty tight. I mean, it's definitely the closest I've been to you two for maybe some.
Yeah, you're above me and you're close to Bigman. Bigman, you're going to buy Kivior. Like, double Arsenal defence feels right for you. I'd sell Gabriel to Kivior straight away.
You would. I mean, I don't think it's as clear cut, because with Diaz you can potentially get the doubler. That's another doubler.
Will he play both in the double come 36? Do you hear what I'm saying about Pep and what he does with centre backs when they're all fit? Like, it's no gimme that Diaz starts every game.
I know, especially with the Akanji back. I know he'll start 2 games in this double at least.
Likely, yeah. Gvardiol has always been the only City defender I'm interested in. Well, I say that, I own Rico Lewis.
But Rico Lewis all season, mate.
The thing is...
That's from way back when. Like, he's obviously, if I was wildcarding any time soon, or had done any time soon, he wouldn't be in my team. But yeah, meh on Diaz, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he gets me, like, both him and Kivior gets me, like, 2 fixtures this week, but I could potentially gain an extra with Diaz in 36. I also like Man City's fixtures from a defensive point of view a lot going forward. So that's why I don't mind the transfer. For example, when you read their fixtures from 35, Wolves at home, Southampton away, Bournemouth at home, Fulham away. I think there's 2 clean sheets in those 2 fixtures. Whereas for Arsenal, the run isn't that great. I mean, 35 is at home to Bournemouth, a fixture where they will rotate. Then it's Liverpool away. Then it's Newcastle at home. The last one is Southampton away, which is a nice fixture, I guess. But I don't see too many clean sheets there for Arsenal after this week.
We have had another super chat in, lads. It's come from BMac for a £5. Thank you very much, mate. We appreciate that. He says, best Gabriel replacements that are not from Arsenal. He's got Gvardiol, Munoz, Milenkovic and Kirkez. He's playing the assistant manager chip on Arteta. It can be a long term, not just for 33. This is definitely your two's wheelhouse, not mine. What do you reckon, lads?
Big man, what do you think?
I mean, I think I would just go with Diaz, as mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Fair enough. Thank you, BMac, for dropping that in, mate. You've got a nice little dilemma there. I mean, as dilemmas go, I think you're pretty well set. Should we do a few questions before we end?
Yeah, we haven't done my team, but I should do it real quick.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot we hadn't done yours. Yeah.
No, do you know what? Because we run out of time, I've just scheduled a stream, so I can do mine in detail on my channel. But want your thoughts, guys, and the chat's thoughts. I'm making 2 transfers. I'm going to start Rico Lewis because he actually started last time out. Mateus Nunes, I think, gets 1, maybe even both starts, but I'm chucking Lewis in hope he gets some minutes. He played all right last time out. I'm going to be selling Palmer for Saka or De Bruyne, and I'm selling Fabianski to Raya. Or Pickford to Wright, doesn't matter. I'm wildcarding next week. I considered bench boost for a minute, but it would be Pickford and Mikalenko on a bench boost. I'm just not going to do that, I don't think. And I'm wildcarding, so bench boost can wait. Yeah. Yeah, thoughts on those 2 moves, guys? Palmer for Saka and Pickford to Raya. 2 Arsenal players in.
Easy, very easy.
Yeah.
Do I take the 3rd transfer for a 4-point hit before a wild card and sell a Lewis or a Livramento to an Arsenal defender?
No.
I don't think I would.
I don't think I would do
keep
that.
livering and
but you're good. You're doing a deadline stream tomorrow, right?
Oh, that's a point. Me and Bigman, 11 a.m. UK time.
You don't need to reveal everything yet because you two have still got dilemmas that people are going to be able to see you make in real time.
And that's what the deadline streamers do, right? They pretend that they don't know what they're going to do all week, and then they get to they'll watch my deadline stream, and then in the last minute of the entire 7-day period you've had to think about your transfers, they make up their mind on their transfer, and they make their decisions. So maybe me and Big Man need to get into that mold. Now we're going to start doing deadline streams, although we are doing early deadline streams. But yeah, we're not gonna do the clickbaity stay and watch us until the last.
No, so come and watch them. Yeah, everyone come back on Saturday. We don't normally do Saturdays, but you're going to get some special. Some special content tomorrow from those two. Saleh has just sent us a super chat too. That's not a name I recognise. Hello, mate. Thank you for joining us on CGA. He says, will we get a better bench boost opportunity than this?
Good question, Big Man. What do you make of the 36 doubles and the likelihood of that, Big Man, and what that will look like?
I think it depends on how your team is set up. So for me, I wildcard in 30 with the view of bench boosting this week, and I see no reason to change that because, it is very, very likely that within a 2, 3, 4 weeks period of time you can get random injuries which might scupper your plans, and I think if you have the opportunity to play this week then just get rid of it. I think it's a good chance to do so.
If you've still got a wild card, I would hold on the bench boost because then you can build an optimal one. But yeah, I'm with Big Man. Like, now's a good week. I'm only not doing it this week because I've got the wild card in hand. So I probably will be bench boosting in that 36. But even for 4 single game week, because I'm happy doing that if they fall good players, I don't really want to be bench boosting with the likes of Mikalenko and Rico Lewis. Mikalenko in a tough fixture. So yeah, we'll answer 2 questions or 3 or 4 or 5 really quick fire questions, guys. We're overrunning a bit, but we're happy to because there's so many of you watching, and thank you all for watching. We'll go real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have got tomorrow's deadline stream, of course. So yeah, we'll just do 3 quick fire questions, and I will continue the question and answer theme on my channel in 5 minutes. But if you are tuning in, stay on CJ and go back and watch the last hour.
Yeah. Bench Palmer or Wood. Palmer's not going to score because he's playing against Fulham. So play Chris Wood playing against Nottingham, playing against Tottenham, who, they're not going to be able to play well again after midweek. So yeah, get on Chris Wood and put Palmer on the bench. Not biased at all.
Marino and Diaz versus Kiwior and Savina. I think I would probably go for Marino and Diaz.
I'll go Marino and Kiwior, but yeah, I hear you, Milan. Savino, massive risk now for minutes, by the way. And yeah, I would probably look to sell him and Foden, like for 7.5 though. Oh, where'd you go, big man? Like Rodgers, if you've got a spot, or Rashford?
Rodgers for sure.
Yeah, don't mind that at all. Thank you for your questions. Rashford and Saka or Kevin De Bruyne and Moreno. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne and Moreno is fun for me, but Rashford and Saka also very good option there, Sally. Dean?
Yeah, I mean, I would straight away go towards the Rashford and Saka, but I guess if you want to have a bit of fun, then yeah, take the second option, but it's definitely a gamble for me.
Yeah. Thoughts on single game week players free hit? Yeah, Liverpool is the only single game weekers I'll be looking at. Operation Target Leicester is still a thing. Bradley and Salah would be locked in my team on free hit, as we showed you earlier. Guys, on the way out, we would love you to do 2 things. Like and subscribe. It's that simple. We love you lot for supporting us. Thank you for staying with us all season. We are back. We're going to try some deadline streams. So note for the diary, 11 a.m. tomorrow UK time. That's before all the other YouTubers go live at 11:30. We would love you to come by and watch. I'm also going to do a stream at 10:30 on my channel in an attempt to bring overloads from my channel onto CGA. So that's where we're at tomorrow, guys. Do not miss it. It'll be me and Big Man. Me and Dean will be back on Monday. Right here, right now, I'm going to move on and just do 20-minute chat on my channel if you want to come and join. But if you have just joined, go back and watch the last hour on CGA. We've discussed captaincy, we've discussed transfers, we've discussed Marmoush in detail, De Bruyne and Saka in detail, and all of their predicted minutes as well. Dean, any final word from you?
Not really, mate. I'm now just settling in my head that Glasner is still my assistant managership. So that was not the plan coming into today's show, but I've now come to terms with it, and I'm really a Crystal Palace fan for the next couple of days.
Love that. And any final word from you, Big Man?
Make sure to join us on the deadline stream tomorrow. I'm actually quite excited because all we're going to be doing on the stream is just taking your questions and answering them. So make sure to like and subscribe and join us 11 a.m. UK tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow will all be about you guys. Do not miss it. And we will see you in the morning. Bye-bye.